Hi, guys. Welcome back. Today, we're going to look at people who are living out of their storage units. It's obviously a tough time when you're going that route, but these are people that went that route. I hope you enjoy.
All right, by live out of, I mean I have built this so that I can come and go super easily. So it's super cramped in here. Follow along. Okay, we are in an 8 by 10 storage unit. I found a special where I could pay $55 a month. He ended up giving me a 4-month deal on that. And then it'll move to about $110 a month. This is what I've built out of it. My dresser is back here.
Looks like a
You
little
can
home,
see, like,
doesn't
I
it?
can totally get in it, get all my clothes, everything. This is my closet. I actually have a full-length mirror, and I have enough space in here to get dressed.
Oh,
My
wow.
shoes are in there, more storage in there. I've been able to set this up a little bit like a living room. I've more storage stuff, some water, blanket. I've got a chair that I can sit in here and put my feet up. I built this up here for extra hanging.
Her place actually looks somewhat cheerful. You hate that people have to live like this. If you guys were down on your luck, do you think you would ever go this route? And were you ever down on your luck in the past where you did go this route? Let me know.
This is my kitchen. I can grab stuff, come and go, my cups, cooking, everything. Down here in my buffet is my pantry. This is terrible and hard in such a small space. My pantry down here is actually my bookshelves now, so I can pull these out, grab the books that I want, and go put them back. I created another little hallway going this way.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
waiting on the rest of my pretty storage bins, but this is all my crafting stuff. If you know me, I craft and I sell stuff for extra money. As soon as you walk in, all my clothes are hanging right here. Back behind there is even more storage for like all my camping stuff.
This is really sad because this lady comes across as a soccer mom type, and you probably noticed the same thing that I did. She's got a lot of sports uniforms and jerseys of different teams that she was rooting for, like the Washington Huskies and stuff. And to see her living out of this storage unit when she should obviously be living in a home, very, very sad, and it really it hurts the heart, doesn't it? Really hurts the heart to see that.
Living in a storage unit. I used to work at a storage facility, being that student loans are going to have to probably be repaid soon, and at 50-50, if you get that waiver of $10,000 to $20,000, your living situation may change drastically. That
Oh,
is why
wow.
I am doing this. Step 1, be a ghost. Don't be seen by employees or tenants, or be seen as little as possible. Go in before or after the employee gets there, outside of normal business hours so they don't see you. If you are there during normal business hours, don't be seen. Make it look like you're not there. If you're in hot or cold climate, you're going to want to be temperature controlled. Temperature controlled units typically stay between 55 and 80 degrees, meaning that you can stay there throughout the winter and summer and not die, which is very, very good. Don't get an outside unit if you're in a crappy climate. Step 3, electricity. Find a unit that has electricity. Some do, some don't. Get a leak cord, essentially. But the thing is, you can't be seen with the leak cord. If someone sees a leak cord sticking out of your unit, you're going to get kicked out pretty quick, whether it's by a tenant or whether it's by the employee actually seeing that plugged into something. Not a good idea. Solar-powered generators or solar-powered anything for your phone, hot plate, water, whatever. Bathroom situation, you're going to have to go to a public bathroom. There's no getting around that. If you're lucky and there's land, you may actually be able to bury it, which isn't a terrible idea. Get a shovel. Don't keep it in your unit. If there's a dirty, disgusting smell, you'll get reported. You'll get kicked out. You don't want that to happen.
So obviously, this guy is giving advice on how you can get away with this. And his thoughts are that with student loans coming to fruition again, it looks like people are going to potentially have to think outside the box and they might even be desperate. Could you imagine if you lived in one of these units and you found out that you actually had two or three neighbors in there living in units as well, Because I could see multiple people doing this in the same storage area. That's crazy.
Somebody was living in a storage unit in a facility that I run my eBay store out of. It's a brand new facility. The one manager, I guess, was doing his like routine walks around because they sweep, they mop like almost like every other day here. So it's a very clean facility. I guess he noticed one of the doors were like half open. Now, like you can notice, like my door, I have a bigger door than everyone else, but it was like half open, like right here. And he noticed that there was a bunch of food and drinks, and obviously in storage units you cannot have any food or drinks in there. So that was like a red flag for him. And so he just kind of like peeked underneath and saw a guy sleeping on a bed.
Oh, wow.
So he opened the door and was just like, "Hey, bro, you gotta leave. You cannot sleep here. You have already breached your contract, yada, yada, yada." And apparently this dude had like, I guess, a little mini apartment in his storage unit.
Oh, wow.
He told him that he had to vacate the premises, yada, yada, yada. The guy refused to leave. Then he was nice enough to be like, "Hey, listen, we'll give you until Monday or Tuesday to just clean everything out and get out." He refused, took a chair out, sat in front of his unit, and said, "I'm not leaving."
God, every time they show these videos on YouTube, I actually get a little anxiety from them. Because it's like, guy, you've obviously got to leave. The guy's going to be calling the police at this point. What would you do if this was your job and all of a sudden there's this guy and he's basically, I consider that a threat. By sitting down in the chair and telling you he ain't leaving, I consider that a threat. So even though I'm sure most of you guys don't, I would. What would you do in that situation? And what if you were that guy? What if you're the manager? I could imagine people coming up to you trying to bribe you. People saying, "Hey, if I give you a couple $100 a month, will you kind of look the other way while I'm sleeping in my unit?" I'd be willing to bet that's happened before. What do you guys think?
And then he started threatening the manager here, saying that like once he leaves, he's gonna come back specifically for him.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so he immediately went back to the office, called the cops. The guy comes back into the office and was just like, "No, wait, wait, hold on, bro." Like playing that whole thing like, "Oh, I'm just joking."
So the guy left his door open, right? His garage style door halfway open. And the guy looked underneath and saw him sleeping. It's like, if you're going to be breaking the rules, you got to be a little bit smarter than that. That sounds like a nightmare scenario, though. Thank goodness the guy ended up saying I was just kidding. But even then, my God, what a crazy situation.
Guys, let me show you a few warning signs when you're searching for storage auction units. Know your facilities that is very key, both for rodents, but also if people live in them. This particular facility that I'm looking at, they have a homeless shelter nearby. So a lot of times in the shelters, they can't store their stuff. They have to bring their stuff out with them every day. So they rent units. Let me show you. Okay guys, so this particular unit right here, you can see it's very basic, it's very well organized. Okay. They're bedding, they're probably sleeping on this chair there. They're slowly gathering stuff. I know this facility very well. They have their pots and pans.
If you look, these units cost what, $100, maybe more a month? I don't even know, but you guys tell me. I'm guessing they cost close to $100 a month when it looks like your property only costs 2 or 300 bucks. Why would you even waste the money on that? The only thing I can think of is that people want to still keep their stuff so they feel human. Does anyone see what I'm saying? If you only own $300 or $400 worth of stuff, why spend $100 a month to rent a place out?
Okay, so here you can see this is a separate unit at the same facility. I know this facility very well. I've bought here before, and I have bought homeless people's units. Not knowing at first, but now we can recognize. So they have their bed, they roll it up, they put it up here. But this is one of the real key things, guys. They have their canned goods. It's all nice, neat, organized. Okay, they're cleaning it. They're cleaning their bowls and everything. Okay, everything is nice and neat and pushed to the side. But
I see what she's saying. Think about this. If you were storing furniture, because let's say you're moving and you need to store it until you get to your new house, you're not going to be storing some cans of dog food and some canned foods. That definitely looks like a red flag that somebody's staying there. But with that being said, to know that this lady has purchased and taken over homeless people's properties, something seems wrong about that. And I know she did it by buying it through auction, but wouldn't that feel weird if you found out you bought something that belonged to a homeless individual?
I ain't gonna lie. I'd rather live in jail than live in a storage unit. Like, y'all niggas is wildin'. Them shits be smaller than a cell. Y'all don't got no shower. Y'all living in a storage unit.
So I imagine some of them are small, but the ones that we've seen have looked like they were pretty decently sized. But does anybody agree with him? You'd rather stay in jail than in a storage unit? I think I'd rather stay in a storage unit myself.
It hurt. I'm not gonna lie. When I found out that they auctioned my shit off, my Jordans, my furniture, my TVs,
Ouch.
everything gone, gone. But I fucked up too though, because I kind of ignored the emails and I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? That final one, when that one came through, the card that they had on file, that man, I thought it was gonna automatically go through. Man, I fucked up. At the end of the day, a lesson learned, you know what I'm saying? Because he don't really want us to be attached to all this, this material stuff, like that Jeep that I love so much. I'm already trying to show myself that, hey, you need to break away from this love that you have for this Jeep Wrangler, because there's other things that might be in store for you in the future, and you holding on love on something that might not even compare to what what you gonna have in the future. It was tough for probably about 3 weeks, and then I got over it. I started healing because hell, you can only go up from here. And honestly, at that time, it was one of those things where it's like, shit, well,
So the other lady buys storage units, and people like this gentleman actually end up losing their stuff because the card they have on file is expired and they lose track of when it's due and stuff. That that would be really disappointing. Guys, could you imagine if you had all of your stuff together? TVs, important mementos, pictures of your family members and stuff, old vintage clothing and records, stuff that really held value in your heart. And then all of a sudden somebody just auctions it off and it's gone overnight. At least he got over it and it only took him 3 weeks. Holy moly.
I want you to tell me what I'm doing in there that's illegal. I don't sleep in there. I don't shower in there. I don't pee in there. Oh, wait.
So this is the lady that at the very beginning, she had like purple lights up and she had different tunnels in her place, right? It looked really, really good. This was her place, right, at first, if you guys remember. So if what she says is true, right, that she's not living in there, I agree with her. If she's not doing anything wrong, leave her alone. However, if she is sleeping in there once or twice a week, that's still not allowed. Okay, here for the final one is somebody that is literally living in there. And look at that space heater. That looks like a fire hazard. And then she's got candles as well. She's going to start a fire. I saw her for a brief second, and if you look, you can tell she's like an elderly lady. So if you see right there, you can kind of tell she's an elderly lady. That's really, really disappointing. That poor thing has to stay there. Listen, you know what else is disappointing? When you guys don't hit the thumbs up and you don't hit subscribe. I want you guys to come back again tomorrow. We'll watch some more videos together, hopefully a little bit more uplifting than this. But if there's one thing we can learn, empathize for people. Some people are going through some tough times. I'll see you tomorrow.